If we're looking at skill and ball control, what we'll notice is that the really skillful players that have got that ball control, and the ones that we think of as these skillful players, they're very, very adaptable in situations. Now, that can be in quite a few different variable sort of situations, but if we're thinking about the different areas they might find themselves on the court, they might not get themselves into the best position, but they then have that skill to be able to play another shot from that position. So you'll see quite often where a player gets themselves into a seemingly impossible position, and all of a sudden the skillful player will be able to hit a ball straight when it looked like all they could possibly do from their body position was hit the ball cross court. And they have that ability to adapt even if they don't quite get their feet right or their body position right. And then equally, if the ball doesn't quite bounce the way that they thought it would, a skillful player with ball control can suddenly change their swing and adapt to it and deal with it and still hit a very high quality shot in response to that uncertainty. Now, another example of that is when you see players that actually hit a really good tight shot, they force the random loose shot from the opponent, and the opponent's ball comes at them through the middle of the court, for example, and it comes through quite quickly. Now, if you haven't got a lot of ball control and you haven't got the skill to adapt, what happens there invariably is you end up losing the point by either making a mistake or you lose control of the rally by not being able to hit the ball tight enough from actually what in essence was you taking control of the rally, because you've not been able to adapt and you've left the ball loose. And as soon as you leave the ball loose, your opponent's in at you, and they'll then turn it around, they'll hit a good shot, and all of a sudden you're under pressure. Now, the other thing that having skill and adaptability that comes with it brings is the fact that you can change against what your opponent's trying to do, where they're trying to impose their game on you. Now, if you're playing an opponent who loves to play fast, loves to hit the ball hard and wants to get that ball pinging around quickly, if you've got ball control and you've got skill, you can invariably change the pace, you can slow the pace down, you can take all the pace out of the game and out of the situation. And that can be very frustrating for an opponent because they're wanting to go fast and you're able to slow that ball down. Now, a really good example of this is when you see a player up on the volley and the ball's been hit really hard, and a volley, of course, because you're taking it without the bounce, is sped up anyway. But the real skill is then being able to just lob a ball into the back of the court. Or when a ball flies through really quickly, being able to just control it and cushion the ball in short and just be able to take all the pace out of the ball. And equally, it's just as skillful when someone's playing very slowly around the court to then be able to speed it up accurately. And you need a lot of ball control, and you need a lot of control and skill within your swing when someone is taking all the pace out of it to then be able to inject your own pace and to be able to do it at a really high level and with high quality. So that adaptability within the different paces that you can hit at is absolutely massive in terms of what it brings you in the context of your squash and your game and rallies when an opponent is trying to mess you up a bit. Now, the other thing that it brings and the skill and ball control gives you is being able to adapt to the court conditions. Now, if a ball is really hot and bouncy, it just allows you to be able to control the ball. It allows you to be able to get that ball fading into corners. Because what you'll find is if you're limited and not comfortable with the ball and with your skill, you'll find that you get quite edgy on hot and bouncy courts. And it might stop you from getting up into volley positions. It might stop you from taking the ball in short. And what it will mean quite often is that when you hit a ball to the back, the ball will bounce up and there'll be a lot of height on the ball for the opponent. So you won't get it fading away. You won't be using your strings, your angles to get that ball shaping and staying tight. And equally, it's the same then. You can flip that to a cold court or a dead ball. And if you haven't got ball control and the skill to get the ball where you want it to go, the ball might land short. It might not get to those back corners at all. You might not be able to adjust on the front wall and measure how hard you need to hit it to be able to get the ball into the back. So it really is, in terms of adaptability, having the skill and the ball control on the court is such an advantage, because we've just talked about so many different variables that it can have an impact on. And just by refining those skills, getting that ball control, really developing it, you'll see all those areas improve over time. And that's why I think it's such a big thing to do.